Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about using a SharePoint group as your group for your permissions, and I'm going to show you two different methods of doing this. You can set it at the library level to all your items would inherit from that permission, or you can set it at the library level so you can make individual permissions. Alright, so I have a Power App up. I'm going to show you what the end product is, and then when we're done, in the following videos of this series, I'm going to show you how to set up the individual components of it. Okay, all it is a Power App and two flows, Power Automate flows. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is, you guys have seen this Power App before in previous videos. I kind of just repurposed it since I already have the libraries pulled in. Okay. And then we got this flow, which is which does the item level, and then I got this flow, which does the library level. Now you would think, you know, since we're going after similar types of objects, you know, the flows would be similar. Well, I'm here to tell you they're not. Okay, so let's go here and I'm not going to go through the flows. I just want to show you what they look like. Okay, not going to expand anything. I just want you to see that the steps are very different. Okay, so this one here is for the item level. Or we'll start with the library level first. Okay, so we got our Power Apps trigger. I got a couple get objects here to pull in some IDs, and then I save, and then since the full control permission ID and the read permission ID, role ID, never changes, I just put them in regular variables. And then down here, if you make, I threw this in here because it's not required, but if you do a custom permission level, like if you don't want them to delete something but you want them to edit or read, you know, you can create that permission level. This is how you pull it in. And this initialized variable, which I forgot to rename, let me do that real quick. I keep forgetting to do this. There, I had trouble pulling, when I got down here, I had trouble pulling the DID property out of this thing. So what I did is I did it down here, and then I just used this. Since these two are already in variables, I figure I'm going to make this one to a variable too. And then, now, one thing when I was putting this together, I noticed that this is one thing, about that. One thing you have to do with this is when you're adding the permission, if the group already exists, if you're giving it a permission level that it doesn't have yet, but it's got another one assigned, it just combines them. Okay, you don't want that. You want only one permission to show it. And then, because if you have a full control permission or you're trying to set a user permission, like a read permission, it's going to put full control read, and it's still going to have full control. It's going to take whichever one the highest one is. Okay, you don't want to do that. You want to have only one in there, unless you're combining permissions. Like if you have a contribute permission and an approve permission, those are okay to merge. Okay, because the approve permission has all different permissions from what contribute has. So what I did is, if the group don't exist, you don't have to do this step. So I put a condition in here. So it checks see if it exists, and then if the link is not equal to 0, that means it exists. Okay, because what that's doing is it's pulling from the JSON that gets produced from this step. It's looking to see if there's anything in between the brackets. Okay, and it's looking at the length. If the length equals 0, which basically means there's not a group, it will bypass that step and go on to the next one. And if it's bigger than 0, then it'll run these 3 steps. Because what I'm doing is I'm removing the owner permissions, the approver permissions, which is the custom level one that I made, and the read one, which I forgot to rename. And then it goes on to do the rest of it, which it, you know, depending on what you selected, you know, it will do it. Okay, so this is the flow for the library level. Okay, you'll see there's no repeating action, no loops, no nothing, because it's just one library, okay? You only got to do one action, right? Now, when you go into your item level, as you can see, it's a lot simpler, okay? Because all the meat and potatoes are done in this one step right here. This is your loop, okay? It's going to loop through all the items. It's going to break the inheritance. It's going to assign the permission and then go on to the next one, okay? The top half looks really similar, okay? Coming down here, you got a bunch of steps in here, okay? So I'm doing, I'm breaking the inheritance of the thing. So if it's inheriting from the parent, which is the library, it will break it, okay? And then it goes, now see, if you use the action grant permission to a folder or item, it will do the break for you. But since we're using at-rest calls to SharePoint, it doesn't do it automatically. So you have to put the extra step in there to do it. As you can see, I'm copying the roles over, and then I'm clearing the subscopes, okay? Now here it checks if the group exists, so I'm doing a similar function as I did in the other one. I said, so if I come in here, see it's exactly the same, and then come down here, and that's exactly the same. So, there's not, it looks simpler, but it's most of the work's done in here. This is all, if you look up here, these are get actions, okay? We're pulling in information to prepare for this step. And then this step is where we apply that information into your flow, okay? So let's go back to our Power App here. Let's go ahead and play it. So we're going to pick on, we'll do this one right here, okay? So when you select it, everything looks the same so far as in our other videos, right? Where I made the change is on the next screen. So it says, do you want to add a SharePoint group to your library for permission? I probably could have put a little more description in there, but it's basically asking, hey, are we going to add SharePoint group to your permissions? If you hit the toggle to say yes, it goes, is it library level or item level? You say, we'll do library first. Okay, level of access. Okay, I gave basically 3. User, approver, and admin. Okay, it's not really approver, it's just I couldn't think of anything else to put there, so that's why I put it. Okay, user's going to translate the read, admin's going to translate the full control, and the approver is just I basically did a contribute light permission, and then I added, since I called it approver, I added the ability to approve things, and I saved it. So we'll do a user for this one. Okay, now I'm going to stop editing real quick so I can show you the back side of this. Alright, so basically what I'm doing is I'm determining which flow I'm going to run. Okay, now with this Power App, remember we use this to set item level permissions using M365 groups, right? Well, this is for SharePoint, so what I did is I said if that toggle is yes, and the level of permission, which is this box right here, set the library, we're going to run the library one. If it's set to true and it's set the item, it's going to run my item level one. And then if it's neither of those, which basically means this ain't toggled, we're going to run item level permission for the library using those M365 groups. So it actually does all permissions now. Okay, so when we run this flow, we'll go ahead and run it. And since we're running the library one, I don't remember which one the library one is. That's the item level. So let's go back. The library one runs really fast. It takes like 3 seconds because it's applying one permission. So it's probably gonna take longer to refresh the page. And see, it already finished. See, 18 seconds ago it ran. It took 2 seconds. All right. Now, looking at the flow, you can't really determine if it actually did the permission properly or not, because it'll say role assignment null. Okay. So if we open this up, take a look. Get down here. Okay, it applied the user permission. Now you can see it applied the user permission down here. As you can see, it skipped the rest. Okay, and it says role assignment null. I think it's going to say that if it did it correctly. Okay, it's not going to tell you what it exactly did. So the only way you can tell. Okay, so this one was right? Okay, hold on. Something's not right here. Okay, I had to make one modification to my flow. I forgot to, I had the get library ID, I had it hard coded to the documents library. So it downstream is going to affect how this performed. So I went ahead and changed it. Okay, so basically what I did right here under this get library ID call, API call that I'm doing, it's this right here was hard coded documents. I have a variable called library list that I pull from this, and now it reads right. So let's go to SharePoint. We're going to go to our FY21 AML PBC library that I have here, and we're going to go to our settings. And then we're going to go to permissions, and on the permissions, as you can see, this is the name of my SharePoint group that I'm using, and it does indeed have a read permission. So let's go back here. We're going to go to the same one. We're going to rerun the flow for library, but this time we're going to do full control. Okay, so we're going to do admin. Hit yes. We're going to come back in here. I didn't change anything, so it didn't, you don't have to worry about me losing anything. Okay, it ran. So let's go back in here, and it says it's successful. So if I refresh this page right here, it should say full control now. And it does. So that's our library level. Okay. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to do a item level. Okay. So we go back into our permissions here. As you can see, it's already broken down in the permissions, but if we actually go into the permissions of an item, you see it's a different permission level. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to change that to full control. So we're going to come in here, go here, we're going to change this to item level, which means I want to set each individual item to this, because like if you want to push something to every single one, you know, because you need to add it, you can. It's very easy, okay, using this method right here. Okay, so we're going to run this. Now we're going over to our item level, make sure it ran. Now this one takes a little longer. It takes anywhere from 30 seconds to however long. As you can see, it's still running, so let's just open it up. Let's monitor it real quick. There's a good chance it's going to finish before I get it opened up all the way though. All right, so there's 27 items, and it's running still. Generally, it takes between 30 and 60 seconds. Just depends on the speed of the network, speed of my flow, just general network speed. As you can see, it's doing quite a few things for each item. It's breaking inheritance, check and see if the group exists. If it does, remove all the permissions, and then apply the new permission. Okay, it should be done here in a second. There it goes. It's done. All right, so let's go back to our item that we were looking at. As you remember, it says it had pervert off there, right, for our permission level. So if I refresh this, it should change to full control. See, boom, there it is. Okay, and if you look at every other item, it's going to be the same way. So this is what we're going to build. Okay, we're going to build this process. Okay, So since each of the videos are going to be kind of long, this is getting broken up to the three separate videos. Okay, this is the first video. The second one will be going over the library permissions. Actually, there's 4 of them. The first one's going to go over the library permissions, I believe. And then the second one's going to be over the item level. And the third one will be going over how to modify the Power App we're already using to initiate this. I kind of showed it to you, but I'm gonna formally show it to you in that video, which that video will probably be really short. And I will put the links to the other videos in the description of this one, and along with all the other ones, so that way if you want to hop back and forth within the series, you can. And I hope to see you in the next one.